Fellow friends, foul or few, Ash here with Gents. Welcome back. Today I'm talking about fragrances for the discerning gentleman, which in case you can't tell, well, that's me, friends. Do you see this outfit I got on? Just a plain gray t-shirt. Refined elegance, yeah. Seriously though, these fragrances that I have right here that I'm about to show you, these are fantastic choices if you're wanting to come across smelling very sophisticated, gentlemanly, refined, with an air of sexiness. You know, there's a little bit of something for everybody. Some fragrances that would work well for younger guys, some that will work better for middle-aged and older guys. It's got the whole gamut here. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about some fragrances for the refined gentleman, which is you. Guys, I got these linked down there in the description. Feel free to go down there and give them a click. And also, another thing that refined gentlemen do is they use the code GENTS10 at maxaroma.com and twistedlily.com for 10% off their orders. Or if they shop at Lucky Scent from April 1st until the end of June, the code GENTS2023 will do the same thing, get you 10% off your order. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's jump into it. Let's dive into it. Let's bequeath into it. Ford Oud Wood. This is the first fragrance I'd like to talk to you about here today. It's a modern classic, this guy. It's a little masterpiece, isn't it? It has been emulated many times. A lot of other fragrances out there kind of smelling like Oud Wood nowadays, both clone fragrances and also other niche houses coming out with fragrances that smell quite similar to Oud Wood, and even some designers as well. It's really a compliment, isn't it? When you come out with a fragrance and then everybody wants their version of the thing that you made. I'm sure it's a little frustrating, but also very flattering. So this has a little touch of smokiness, but a very wearable oud scent here. Not funky, not animalic. It's got great spices, warm and sweet. This really exudes luxury, while still keeping that wearability intact. Ford Oud Wood, just a killer scent. Follow that one up with a personal favorite, a personal love of mine, Dior Homme Intense. Iris, vanilla, and leather. Some of the notes in the fragrance here, along with some ambrette. Warm, sensual, sexy, extremely classy. It's creamy. The iris in here, kind of a makeup-y, lipsticky iris. Some people don't dig that, but I absolutely love it. It's gonna be in a similar style, similar vein as fragrances like Valentino Uomo Intense, Gentleman Eau de Parfum, things like that. This is going to be a fragrance more for the evening. This is not like an anytime gentlemanly kind of fragrance. We've got some of those coming up, but this one is more a formal evening scent or a potential date night fragrance, depending on where you're going, what you're doing. So Dior Homme Intense, gotta mention that one. One of my favorites of all time. All right, this next one is a little more based around spring and summertime use. A classic Italian cologne style of fragrance with good performance to boot. Aqua de Parma Colonia Essenza. And just a friendly reminder that Aqua de Parma in general is a fragrance house that you can find heavily discounted at discounters. So you can typically get these for a pretty good price, all things considered. Good bang for your buck. So this one has fresh citrus. It's got woodiness in there that comes out as the fragrance dries down. Really, you can pick it up pretty early on, and some fresh spice in there as well. It's a timeless kind of fragrance, like a timeless, classic masculine cologne. Extremely classy. This stuff you'll be able to wear 60 years from now, and you'll still smell good. Another obvious choice is the next one. It's Terre from the house of Hermes. There are a few different iterations of this that you could go with. This is just the original Eau de Toilette. Eau Intense Vetiver would work. Eau Givre would work. If you can find Eau Très Fraîche for a good price, that one would work. If you're gonna be wearing it in summer, you know, the middle of summer, then I would go Eau Très Fraîche or Eau Givre. But if you're looking for one that's just, you know, usable basically year round, this is gonna be your best bet. Now with Terre d'Hermes, it does have a flintiness to it, a little bit of a dirtiness, a little earthiness to it. It's not overdone, but the way it mixes with citrus off the top to some people is not the greatest smell in the world. I think it's fantastic. Most people, I think, do agree that this is a classic, a masterpiece. But do keep in mind, if you've never smelled it, it does have that flintiness, and it has vetiver as it dries down. Now, a fragrance that has been compared a little bit to Terre Hermes, and part of that is because it has the same perfumer and maybe a somewhat similar idea behind it as far as the construction of the fragrance, but it's Cartier's Declaration. It has spices, woods, florals. It's got really nice complexity to it, actually, as far as designer fragrances go. Very elegant, very sophisticated, grown up. It has more of an uplifting freshness to it off the top than Terre Hermes does. A little bit more of like an airiness to it where those florals really work through. A fantastic release. If you want one that is a little more modern smelling, that has one of the nicer smelling fresh masculine rose notes in it, get Declaration d'un Soir. Déclaration d'un Soir. Every time I try to speak French like that, an angel loses its wings. It's very sad. Then we have Gentleman's Society up next. A newer fragrance, came out just this year. Very modern smelling, sophisticated, has a great freshness off the top that's very appealing. It has a touch of that iris to it, but not too much. The iris that you're gonna find across the Gentleman line, most of that has been scrubbed out of here, unfortunately. Instead, you just get like a remembrance of iris when you first spray this on. It has a very appealing warmth as the fragrance dries, so you get kind of the best of both worlds. A nice freshness, a little bit of sweetness there off the top, and as it dries down, a masculine, modern, warm base. Gentleman's Society, I know some people are going to be a little hesitant on because it is moving the Gentleman line in kind of a new direction away from iris potentially, and that's going to have some people up in arms a bit, but I like what they've done here. I think as far as versatility and wearability goes, while having that classiness, this is top-notch stuff. Okay, next one is a fragrance that's been a bit harder to find over the past few years. It's been discontinued, but it has popped back up at discounters, so I don't feel bad mentioning it. A lot of times I try not to mention in lists discontinued fragrances that are very difficult to find, because then people get upset when they go to look for it and they're like, man, this is nowhere. Why would you talk about this? Now I can't even find it, and I wanted it, and now I'm mad. So I try to stay away from that, but this one being available right now, I feel okay bringing it up. It's from Robert Graham, and it is Fortitude. This one has vanilla, musk, and amber, and it's a unique smelling scent. It's another one with a really nice sophistication to it. It's got spices in there that are maybe not as sweet as you might anticipate. They actually do have like a touch of baking spiciness to them instead of just being straight up warm and sweet, and then that's it. You get a little citrus off the top here, but it's not an extremely juicy citrus. It does lend a little freshness when you first spray it on and help you into the mid and dry down. It's one of those fragrances that has been under the radar basically ever since it came out, and that's never gonna change considering now it's difficult to find, or has been difficult to find. But it's this very nice, subtle, refined, cool weather scent. Again, under the radar, not many people have it, and it does have a great air of classiness to it. Now this next one, I mean, the name just, it lets you know it's classy right off the bat. It lets you know it's for a gentleman. They're not hiding it. It is from Elegance, which really, most fragrances from Elegance you could probably work into this list, but this one is sartorial. And Elegance is a house that has drastically, I feel like, tightened up their distribution for a long time, years. You could easily find Elegance fragrances at discounters for next to nothing. I picked up a boatload of Elegance over the years for like 40, 50 bucks a bottle. Now some of those were testers, but still crazy cheap. And without fail, you could go to whichever discounter you like, you could type in Elegance and it would pull up like their entire catalog, just everything available for next to nothing. And as I said, they tightened that up, because nowadays you go to discounters, you type in Elegance, they'll have some stuff, but nowhere near what they used to have, and the prices are much higher than they used to be at discounters. So yeah, for a lot of people it's gonna be a bummer, but it is what it is. So this one has lavender spices and woods, and this is gonna be more of a barber shoppy kind of fragrance. So if you enjoy fragrances of that style, barbershop scents, you should check this out. It's a very high quality one, very nice, very classy. Obviously going to appeal more to guys middle-aged and older, but it's well done stuff. It will remind you of some other very popular barbershop-y scents out there potentially, but still worth having. All right, let's wrap it up with two blue monsters. The first one, Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Citruses, spices, woods. This is the most luxurious of the Bleu de Chanel fragrances, at least as of when I'm filming this video. Who knows what they're gonna release in the future. But as of right now, this is gonna be your most grown up, mature, sophisticated, elegant take on the Bleu de Chanel DNA. Very appealing opening with a great lemon zest off the top. It's got just the right amount of brightness and freshness to mingle together with those deeper, richer woods and that bit of incense smoke that you're gonna get from this. And even though that is the Parfum version of Bleu de Chanel, it is still Bleu de Chanel. So I mean, you can wear it whenever you want. Does it maybe trend a little bit more toward evening use than the other Bleu de Chanel releases? Sure. But it is still, as I said, a Bleu de Chanel. Last fragrance, hype monster, Sauvage Elixir from Christian Dior. Had to put this in here, had to put it in. If you're looking for a modern release from a major fragrance house, a major designer fragrance house, and you're looking for something that's going to come across elegant, refined, gentlemanly, sophisticated, this is the first place that I would point you. It's spicy, aromatic, makes great use of lavender. As it dries down, it even has a little bit of licorice in there, along with patchouli and vetiver. The stuff rocks. I mean, this is one of, if not the most hyped fragrance of the past probably 5 years. It lasts an eternity. Yes, it's expensive, but the quality is there. And I particularly very much enjoy it because, as I've said a number of times, it reminds me of plucking a fragrance out of the 80s, modernizing it, boosting up the quality of the ingredients, and then putting it out on the market. It still works. That DNA from years ago, if you tweak it and twist it, still works. So Sauvage Elixir, the last one that I'm gonna recommend in this video, but the first designer that I would actually point you to if you ask me. All right, guys, there we go. 10 fragrances for the refined gentleman, which of course is every single one of you out there. I wanna thank you all for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you all later.